everyone, October is here, so that means it's time for us to start preparing for another NaNoWriMo. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, NaNoWriMo is short for National Novel Writing Month. During this time, writers from all over the world are trying to write 50,000 words in the month of November. It's a huge challenge, but I think it's something that all writers should try at least once in their life, because it just shows you what you are as a writer, and also you get so much done. This is going to be my 8th Nano, and every year in November I wonder what the hell I was thinking when I signed up. But every year at the end of the month I'm always proud of what I have achieved, even if I didn't win, because I invariably write more in November than I write in any other month, because I'm pushing myself harder. That said, doing NaNoWriMo is a challenge and it can be a very overwhelming experience, especially for newbies. So I decided to do a blog and vlog series about NaNoWriMo and what you need to know in order to make it to the end of November. I decided to start off the vlog part of this series by explaining how you can actually decide on your idea. This is something that I find a lot of writers struggle with, because they can't decide what to start with, and then they only get to it like in their second week of Nano, which means that they're already about 14,000 words behind by the time they realize what they want to write. This is actually the ideal time to decide on your idea, but how do you do it? How do you do it if you have more than one idea, and how do you do it if you have no idea what you want to write about? My first tip, especially for when you have no idea what to write about, my suggestion is write that story that you always wish you could find in a bookshop, but that you never find, that never seem to get published. So if you've always wanted to write a story about pirate mermaids in space, then now's the time for you to write it, because you can just write anything you want. The nice thing about writing what you want to read is that you are already passionate about your idea. And this brings me to my next tip. If you have more than one idea that you are interested in, pick the one that you are still more passionate about, because writing a book is a challenge. Writing 50,000 words in 30 days is even harder. Writing a book in 30 days when you're just not into your story idea and it feels like you want to actually gouge your brains out with a spoon before you actually want to write, makes Nano almost impossible. Pick the story that you wake up in the morning wishing you can write it, because that's the one that's going to get you through. It's just so much better to open a document when you want to work on a story than it is if you have to keep pushing yourself. You are going to come to a stage in November where you really are going to suffer just to write, and do not want to be stuck with a story that's just not that interesting to you. But what do you do if you are passionate about all your ideas? Well, you actually pick the strongest one. By this I mean which story has the strongest goal, which one has the strongest conflicts, and the conflicts that are most inherent to your characters and to the goal itself, and which of these stories has the highest stakes. You pick the one that has the strongest of all of these three things, because those stories are the ones that are going to be able to carry 50,000 words. Many people fail in NaNoWriMo because they pick a story that they think sounds interesting without really thinking about these three things. And the problem with that is that often your story idea might actually just be enough to get you through maybe 10,000 words if you're lucky, and it's actually just a short story, and then you're stuck in the middle of NaNoWriMo rushing around trying to figure out how to turn this short story into a novel, or worse, having to build up a new novel from scratch and on a very short notice. If your strongest idea only has two of these three things, so if it only has something like conflict and stakes, or goal and conflict, or goal and stakes, and one of those three things is still missing, you can actually go and build it in. And I do recommend you do this, because you do want those three things to be present in your story idea before you start. It just makes writing so much easier, especially in the second and third week. But don't worry, if you don't know how to do this, I will be providing advice about each of them starting this week on my blog. But let's say you have two really complete story ideas that are strong and you are passionate about both. What do you do then? This might sound like a really odd thing for me to say, but just pick one. A lot of people have two or more very good ideas, and then they get stuck, wavering between either one idea or another, or falling about willy-nilly between them while they're writing, because they can't decide which one they actually want to write. The thing that I wish that people would notice and realize is that you're just going to do both. both. It's not like doing one for Nano means you're never going to do the next one. Just pick one and write that one, and once that's done, get to the next one. Or, if you really can't decide what to pick, have it as an option that you do write both. It's not easy, it's actually harder, and it does put more pressure on you for Nano, but it's better to add 50,000 words across two stories than wavering the whole time between doing one thing or the other, and in the end actually doing less and doing nothing sometimes as a worst case scenario. Just pick one or pick both, but know what you're doing, and if you are picking both, make sure you have a system to make sure that you get both done and you keep the two separate from each other. You do not want to get stuck because you are trying to juggle too much at the same time. But that's basically my advice. Don't forget to check out my blog posts on my NaNoWriMo Need to Knows, and you will see that I'm going to provide a link right here. Before you go, do let me know if you're going to join Nano and share your username so that I can buddy up with you for November. Also, do let me know, is it your first time that you are doing NaNoWriMo, or are you a veteran? All the best with picking your idea, and I hope this helped you. Have a nice day. Bye bye!